Here's the thing. We just had a very civilized discussion with two different opinions about what should have happened in the ending of La La Land. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's allowed. I have my opinion. Dan has his.
Yes.
Both very defensible things.
These are facts.
Okay.
Just checking the camera.
Theory. This has been driving me nuts. Like, there's so many shows. We're going to TV now. And movies, I guess, because with Star Wars, things like that, people theorizing rampantly. There's so many movies and TV shows that act around conspiracy or about, hidden reveals and things like that are more subtle and less noticeable right away. It's not ever presented to you straight because they want the audience to theorize about it. Now, what I take issue with is people... Spoiler alerts. I hate people who are like... Hate's a strong word. I very much disagree with people who think that people should avoid posting spoilers on the internet. First of all, if you want to avoid spoilers, why are you on the internet? What are you doing? If you have to purposely seek them out. For the sake of getting mad at someone, people want to go on social media to talk to other people who are experiencing the same emotions they are in that moment when they first watch a scene.
That's what social media is.
Yes. A good example of this, season premiere of Walking Dead. This season, you knew someone was going to die.
Negan
you knew how they were going to die. You didn't know who it was. Very much when it first happened, people posted on social media because they're all watching it and wanted to talk about it. It's not their responsibility to shelter your eyes if you haven't seen that episode. People are getting mad at them.
Then people commenting and go, wow, spoilers, man.
Wow, spoilers. I don't care if you haven't seen it. Also, spoiler alerts are completely invalid for things that came out. I think your statute of limitations on, needing a spoiler alert on something is very... I don't think they should exist in the first place, but I think if a movie's been out for 5+ years, there's no such thing as a spoiler alert. You had your chance to see it.
Like Sixth Sense?
BS. Sixth Sense.
He's been dead the whole time.
The Matrix.
The Matrix. They're in the Matrix.
What?
It's even I think the Matrix is a bad example, but
Citizen Kane.
Luke, I'm your father. Rosebud's the sled.
Rosebud's the sled. Luke's the father.
I think
all of these things are just
in certain instances, with massive events. Have you seen Split yet?
No, but I don't really care. I'm not going to see it.
I've heard so many good things about it.
Really? It's a Shyamalan, though.
I know.
I'm so sick of his twists.
Apparently, it is a great twist, and he has been working 15 years on this movie.
Oh, my God.
So...
One of his twists was that trees were causing people to commit suicide.
Yes.
I have trouble trusting him, okay?
Yeah, well,
one of his twists was the fact that they pronounced Aang Ong for an hour and 45 minutes straight with complete disregard to the source material, casting only white people.
Yeah.
And, some brown people. But, come on.
I understand that.
I'm still mad at him about the Last Airbender.
I think in certain instances, event material like going to see Split is important. It's important to keep that spoiler thing of hey, keep that discussion over there for the people who don't, for the people who haven't seen it yet. But
if you know that this big thing is airing, this big thing is happening.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, Season 6, Episode 9, called Battle of the Bastards. You know exactly what's going to happen, and you don't know who's going to win because it's Game of Thrones. You never know the end result.
Exactly.
Stay the hell off Twitter if you want to watch it and you want to be, if you want to stay out in front of it. Yeah. But what you've probably been doing, which I find the most irksome, is that you are looking up conspiracy theories about shows and fan theories about shows, which... Surprise, surprise, people are smart and have a lot of resources and a lot of time to devote to this. They are very often right. Westworld is an amazing example of this. I don't care about spoilers. Stop. Westworld was an amazing example of the internet predicted almost everything that happened.
Really?
After the first 3 episodes, they had all the fan theories flowing, all that, whatever, I won't mention a few of them just because Westworld is a bit more recent, but and people might be taken off guard by this if they are listening to this, but it's an example where
just so you know, our show is a very we're going to talk about spoilers if they're like regardless of whether or not you have seen a specific thing.
Yeah.
So if you do not want to just skip ahead.
Stop here.
Stop.
And
Either
move on to the next
stop
section.
it. You move on.
Well, I don't want to spoil Westworld for you because I feel like you'd enjoy it. But
I've heard weird things about the
love it.
logic of the world and
I don't
whether
care
or
about the
not.
logic at all. I don't care at all. It presents me with the universe, and I accept its rules.
Okay.
That's also another thing. Like, don't look for realism in these things. You have certain rules.
No, not even realism, but logic in the storytelling.
Well, as
and,
long
like,
as it
what-
follows its own logic, I'm okay with it.
But I've heard that it bucks its own logic all the time.
I completely disagree. Anyway, Westworld is an example where after the first 3 episodes, people were speculating rampantly about every little thing that happened and like every little detail that they can hang on to. And guess what? The writers and directors put those details there so that people could do that, so that the show gets more buzz.
Yeah.
And they ended up being right about a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the brilliant part of it is that as right as they were about so many of the details in Westworld,
Yeah.
the finale went a completely different direction that no one was expecting, which is the best part of it, because people
So
spent
not
all this
only-
time theorizing, convincing themselves they were right, and they were, but then they were duped again.
Yeah.
And they had no idea that was coming.
So it's not like a situation with Lost where it was like
Lost,
they
no
had
one had
so
any
many
idea what was going
They had
on.
so many theories, but then like they decided to go in that different direction without even addressing that stuff.
No, and it's not
But
like
it's-
the writers of the show don't look at it and see that this stuff exists. Like, yeah, they filmed the season beforehand.
It's sort of
but
like-
they know that people will be led to these conclusions with
Yeah.
the hints that they put in. They put in certain things in the background. They put in certain symbolism. Guy in the black hat is wearing a white hat in the past. Like, duh. That's very. They intended for people to find that so they could theorize, and if they get things right, they feel smart. They feel better about watching the show and having this payoff. But then they have the opportunity to get duped again, which is genius. I love Westworld for that. Game of Thrones is a great example of that too, because people were hyping R plus L equals J. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know exactly what that is.
I know what that is, and I'm not even a Game of Thrones fan.
Right, so people have been hyping that since book 2 or something.
Yeah.
And that was confirmed in the show. It hasn't even been confirmed in the books yet, but I mean, the books or show are different. It's been confirmed in the show, but there's so much more that could happen that even if you get that one portion right, it doesn't ruin, like, yeah, it's a cool detail and it's a crucial detail to the story, but it doesn't change the implications of the ending.
And George R.R. Martin has said that he's going to take all of that stuff and take it in a completely different direction from the TV show.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So you're not only getting, like, they're going to diverge from the path, and you're going to have not just a universe, but a multiverse for Game of Thrones. I think that's very cool.
There are no storytelling rules that he has to abide by. He can kill off whoever he wants whenever he wants.
There are no storytelling rules in general. If you want to do something, you can do it. You just have
You
to
don't
have
have
a...
to follow tropes. It doesn't have to be satisfying for anyone but yourself.
But you need to have a reason for it.
Yes. If you can justify it internally, like, even if your justification is like life sucks and people die, like this person fell down a mountain and broke their leg and couldn't get back up, like it happened. That happens.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone's gonna be struck down by a sword or a dragon. Like sometimes shit just sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry for cursing. I don't care. Sometimes life happens and you fall down a hill or you break a leg or you eat some bad pie and have diarrhea and die of dysentery. Like
The
it
most
happens.
the most important thing is what we do after that happens.
Yes. Yes. And the implications of each character's death and their choices that led them to that moment. But I don't think anyone should be stopping anyone else from theorizing. I don't think anyone else should stop anyone else from talking about things as they happen.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous. People want to discuss and further speculate based on the implication of a certain episode.
That's also like I mean, in general, you know, I mean, like a topic that we were originally gonna have, but I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know. I'm just gonna incorporate it into this. A topic that I had was like people were trying to figure out what order to watch Star Wars in, because now Star Wars has so much new stuff with like Rogue One, Episode 7, Episode 8. So it's like, what's the best way to watch it, and what's the best way to watch it for people who are seeing it for the first time ever?
Well, Episode 8 is a good example, too, of this exact principle, right?
Yeah, it's true. Like, who's the last Jedi? That could be anybody.
Who's the last Jedi? What does the word last mean in this connotation? Who is Snoke? It could be Jar Jar. What do you know?
Yeah,
Why
it could
are you
very well be Jar Jar.
this one person's very well-researched, well-fleshed out theory?
Could be Mace Windu.
Like, is it ridiculous? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But the fact that they spent so much time and invested so much time into it means you cannot delegitimize it. You are not the one in charge of writing the movie. They should be allowed to speculate until they confirm it a certain way. You don't know.
A good quote by this, and I'm not going to misquote her, but she's a YouTuber named Jenny Nicholson, and she comes up with a lot of Star Wars theories. Just because it's something along the lines of diehards don't love stuff harder than you. They just love it sadder, you know? So, like, they spend so much time devoting their time to these theories.
Yeah.
And they may get, like, smacked in the face in the end with it being like, no, it's not right.
Wrong.
I loved Matt Pat's idea about Rogue One, where Rogue One is actually the Knights of Ren. I really wanted to see that happen because I think that would be such a cool thing to have it tie into the Star Wars lore like that. To have something that was responsible for one thing be a causality in the next to be the reverse of what it was.
Yeah.
I think that's such great storytelling, and the idea that it speaks to Lucas's intentions behind Star Wars being a circular narrative.
But the reality of the situation was that Rogue One end up serving a very specific purpose.
Yeah.
Which is what is the more obvious conclusion, but because people are speculating around it, it makes it like, oh, like that wasn't the answer, but it's still satisfying to know that they played their part a certain way.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So in regards to that, like I think I guess this isn't really like you should be watching it this way, but like,
well, I have one more example before we do Star Wars.
Okay.
How I Met Your Mother.
Well,
okay.
I was gonna
rampant theorizing.
I was gonna incorporate the Star Wars because this is just a one-off thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
This is my way of watching the Star Wars movies now with all the new stuff coming out. You watch it. Episode 1 serves as the prologue to everything that's about to happen,
and then you could throw it into the lava pits after you're done with it because you never need to see it again.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah, it's an introduction to the world. It's an introduction to the major characters of the first saga, which is Anakin, Obi-Wan, Palpatine,
Jar Jar,
C-3PO, R2D2, and Yoda. Well, Qui-Gon dies.
Qui-Gon was pretty major though.
Qui-Gon was major. Yeah. So he was influential to an extent, and also because Liam Neeson. But you get an introduction to the world, you get an introduction to the main characters and how they're going to factor in. Then you jump 30 years into the future. Episode 4, the world has actually been thrown into turmoil. So the first time viewer is probably like, what happened? And slowly but surely, as the Episode 4 and Episode 5, which are the next two movies in sequence, as that unfolds, you start to learn, like, oh, what? So Obi-Wan trained Anakin.
Well, here's the one thing you do know in the connection between the two, right?
Yeah.
You know the existence of Obi-Wan in both.
You know the existence
and the existence of Anakin in both.
And the fact that Obi-Wan and Anakin
and you know that Anakin and
partners.
Luke are in some way related because you know they're both Skywalkers.
Well, no, you know Anakin and Luke are related because
after 5.
No. You know Anakin and Luke are related in 4 because he says, your father was a great pilot. I knew him well. And
well, you don't know
he
that
was
he's
a Jedi.
his father specifically. It could be like an uncle or something.
Oh, true.
He just has Skywalker as the name, so you know that they're in some way related.
Yeah, you know that they're somewhere related. You know that Luke's father is a Jedi. So that gives.
And you think this little snot-nosed kid is becoming a Jedi after Episode 1? Please.
No. Well, you think the snot-nosed Jedi grows up to become Darth Vader.
Right.
But like you're just like, so then you know the existence of an emperor, you know the existence of an enforcer, and you know the existence that
true Sith Lord
something fell out of place and the world just turned to garbage.
Ash.
The
world will turn to ash.
And then in Episode 5, you get the revelation that really nice senator that got elected to be chancellor, he's actually the emperor now. He took power for himself, and now he's spreading evil across the land. Yeah. And his enforcer, that was Obi-Wan's apprentice, Anakin.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my gosh.
Like, how did we get here?
How did we get here? That way, then you go back to episodes 2 and 3, and you see that descent. You see the Republic get dismantled. You see Chancellor Palpatine ascending to power as Emperor Palpatine, and you see Anakin become Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, to tie it back into the original trilogy, you go to Rogue One. It's the next logical step after episode 3. So what happens is that you get that story of how the Rebel Alliance gets its first hit out against the Empire. Because we don't get that context in episode 4. We just get the end of that story. So with this, it gives more context to episode 4, and you're just like, oh, that's very cool. And now we're back to where we were.
Yeah. So you're now 30 years in the future again. After the plans have been handed off, after that whole resolution has happened, how does 4 end? Oh God,
4 ends with the Death Star blowing up.
Right, and that's the happy joy ending. I think it's great because also you separate 4 and 7 by a large distance.
Yeah.
Which is better.
Yeah.
Because then you could treat 7 independently. If you watch
Right.
4 and 7 too close, it feels like the same movie twice.
Right, and also at the same time, you get 4 and 5, and you're just like, what happens? You go back and you get the context for what happened in 4 and 5. Then you do the lead back into the current day with Rogue One, and then you finished off the first saga with episode 6. And then so that's Saga 1. Saga 1 of Star Wars, the story that George Lucas was intent on telling with a little bit extra. Then there's Saga 2, which is going to comprise of currently 7 and 8. Whatever 7, 8, and 9, whatever stories they decide to tell in between the time of 6 and 7.
And they have an Obi-Wan movie coming out.
That'll be a Saga 1 movie.
That's
I
great.
think. Or a Saga 0. It'll be like Yoda and Obi-Wan and Han Solo.
Lando,
which Donald
Glover.
Glover. But yeah, so I think that's just, to be honest, that's just my opinion about how to watch the Star Wars movies, especially for people who are watching it for the first time who don't know what the story's about. I think you get great context for the major players, and you get great context for the story as a whole, because you get to see Anakin's fall and redemption, but you still save the twist that Anakin is Luke's father.
And you get the big reveals out of the way, like, very early.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I don't want to sit there and be like, whoa, I've already figured it out, but I'm just waiting for confirmation. Like, you get it out of the way, and then you can enjoy the space opera as it unfolds.
Exactly.
Yes.
But yes, I think that does that proves, like, I mean, like, I could force people to say this is the definitive way to watch it, but you might have another way that you appreciate and you like better.
Also, any theory that comes out about 8 or 9 could completely change the perception of how to watch the movies too, depending on what happens.
Also very true. And if you watch the television show too, the television show, the Clone Wars and Rebels,
Wars.
you probably
Yes.
you get even additional context there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate spoiler bait.
Yeah.
But,
it's the ultimate theory.
Just
bait.
one last like theory bait I want to put out there. I mentioned How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
People, oh my God, for so long, people were saying, like, this is where it can go wrong. People are theorizing that Barney was dead in the future because of like a lot of symbolism and like the way he slept and things like this.
That's interesting.
But they were also theorizing that the mother was dead in present day, which is why he was telling the story and she was nowhere present in his life and whatever, and he used a lot of past tense, things like that. And they were right, but I kind of wish at that point that they weren't right, because the creators of the show said they had a very specific way for how this ended. Like, when they wrote the first season, they knew exactly how it was going to end. And turns out they chose the worst possible ending because they spent all of season 9 marrying Barney and Robin. It took place entirely at their wedding, only to break them up in the first 20 minutes of the finale.
Yep.
Then you find out that Ted is really still lusting after Robin, even though there were so many moments in that season where it seemed he was finally letting go.
Right,
like the balloon,
Right.
the actual like wedding, whatever.
Right.
And you build up this 9-year story about him getting to the mother finally before his kids are like, nah, come on, like you like Robin.
The problem is, I think they had a specific story intended for a certain duration of time, and CBS was like, "No, we're gonna give you more episodes than
they
intended."
gave them too much time to work. If it was 4 seasons and he hadn't met all these people along the way and had all these like poignant moments of self-discovery where he's like, it didn't work with Robin multiple times, like, Why does he think it's going to work eventually?
I know. At the same time, watching it in sequence all together without waiting,
Yeah.
gave me a greater appreciation for the story as a whole.
Ugh,
To me, for me.
I hate the
but
ending
that's
more than anything.
But that is because you were one of the people that were watching it not like in one collective binge.
Right.
Like if you watch it in one collective binge, you see the story of Ted and Robin and how it ends. Like that, I'm like, okay, I have a great appreciation for that. I love how I like the story that there are people in your life that are meant to be in your life regardless of what happens with them. And I think that's the overall message of How I Met Your Mother.
But the point is that it was a serialized show.
Right. The point of it was a serialized show, and it was going towards a specific end game, and
They strung us along for so long,
Yes.
just to have them come to the conclusion that he himself realized was not the right one many times in the course of that last season.
But you see, I think the issue was not necessarily in the telling of the story, but in the structuring of the season.
Well, it just feels like that's exactly my point. Why spend all this time at their wedding just to completely nullify it? Like building up to the mother,
Right.
this like amazing person who like was perfect for him, just to go back to Robin who was like not.
Yes.
And also like it just felt like a complete waste of time and like a regression of his character.
Well, I mean, it was a regression of his character. It was a regression of Barney's character. Eventually, the twist with the girl, with his daughter, was good. But at the same time, it's just like that could have been pulled off way better.
You didn't have to BS around at their wedding for the whole season. You could tease the wedding at the end of season 8.
Right.
And season 9 be like, they tried, it didn't work out. And then you lead to the rest of it instead of wasting our 20 episodes at the wedding.
I would have split the season in half. I would have split season 9 in half.
Even that's better, though.
The first 10
at the wedding.
The first 10 at the wedding, you skip meeting the mother.
Yeah.
Because that's what the story is about.
Yeah.
Then you go and fill in the gap.
If that's what the story is about, and you skip meeting the mother, I would write so many angry letters to the creators of that show. Like,
so if you get up to the point of the cliffhanger where he notices the mother on the train, then the next that first episode, that's the mid-season finale of him noticing the mother on the train.
Yeah.
So we're almost there. First episode when you're back is already
she's dead.
No. No,
but they didn't show any time of them to get. I'm so frustrated.
Then you go to. Well, no, that's what I'm about to do. You take the finale and you break it up into 10 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you say
you see Barney and Robin's relationship devolve rather than in 20 minutes they're gone.
Right.
You actually have Ted
building
have
a relationship.
Payoff, but you have the payoff of it took him so long to meet the mother. Have him actually enjoy some time and have us enjoy that time with her so we can appreciate how good that relationship was until she goes away.
Also, I would have started to thread. I would have not introduced the mother at the end of season 8, and I would have started threading episodes involving the mother into season 8. I would have started to have like maybe more like we get more context, or we get more context in the sense that it's after the time in season 8 you get more context of it's after the time that the mother has passed away, and it's Ted and all those people. They're older and they're interacting with each other in the present time where Ted is speaking to the kids. So you take that narrative and you pluck it up and put it into this new place of like. Then you get a reminiscing and you get to jump between the two timelines.
They released a DVD ending where he just describes his story with the mother, and she doesn't die, and he doesn't end up with Robin. That ending does not happen, and that ending it doesn't happen in the DVD. There's an alternate ending.
That's just the ending though.
It's fine.
Yeah.
That's
so you see, he doesn't end up with Robin, but.
She doesn't necessarily die either. He leaves it open-ended. It's completely open-ended. They have that same montage where he's like enjoying his time with her, whatever, and that feels very cathartic because he spent all this time getting to her. Right. And at the end, like it's not our business anymore of what he did once he was with her. It was that's how I met your mother.
Yeah.
End.
Yeah.
That's all you needed to know, that this paid off. And it doesn't have to go further than that.
Right.
She could still be alive. Everyone could be happy. It doesn't have to be this bittersweet thing where it's only an excuse to kill her off because he wants to chase after Robin.
Right.
It's so stupid to do that. But people were theorizing that she would be dead the whole time. They did not theorize that he would still be chasing after Robin because there was so much evidence presented to us that he was over it. And they just spit in the face of that.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Even though they had the ending in mind to begin with.
That's the thing. He's telling the story of how he's getting over Robin, but in bringing it back up, you realize that he had never been over Robin, which is like
speaks more about his character than anything. That you're just like, why do I care about your sad story? You clearly learned nothing. You clearly learned nothing this entire time, and you are lusting after something that doesn't work.
Well, I think to be honest, to me it demonstrates that there's more than one person in your life that will have a substantial impact on who you are as a person.
No one's arguing that. I think that
but I think that's the message of the story in general. It's like you have the mother, and then you have Robin and Marshall and Barney and Lily, and those people that like will have that had an impact on that person's young life.
Robin was best served as the obstacle to him meeting the mother.
Yeah.
Once he got over her, that's when his brain could be like, oh,
yeah,
this is the one I'm supposed to be with, referring to the mother.
Yeah. Him
crossing that final bridge, Robin served that purpose in being that big grand obstacle rather than the end goal.
And I think with greater context, the justification that Ted and Robin could get back together would be better earned had it not been crammed into an hour-long episode.
That's also true. That it was a half hour.
Yeah, it was 2 half-hour episodes.
Yeah. Which, if you're watching individually, week to week, terrible.
Oh, there were 2 separate episodes?
Yes.
Oh my, why?
Because they're terrible.
I thought it was an hour long.
Because they're as shameful as Scrubs season 9. I don't even know that's real.
They're as shameful as Scrubs season 9.
Scrubs season 9 didn't even happen.
I don't know.
Scrubs season 9 didn't happen. Let's all forget that it happened. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Scrubs ended perfectly, and then they were like, let's do one more, and everyone was like, no! Stop! It was a perfect ending.
Yeah.
But, again, main point, bringing it all back, people were theorizing about that. They got it wrong. They got it partially right, and then it was a bad twist. Rather than Westworld, where people got everything right, and then they were twisted again. Whether it was bad or good remains to be seen, because we don't have the context for it past what happened, but you shouldn't stop anyone from theorizing. End rant.
End rant.
Oh my god. We've gone on a journey.
What a journey we've gone on.
Who's going to listen to all of this?
That's the point of breaking it up and then releasing the full one at the end of the week.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, that was exhausting.
It was exhausting, but it was entertaining. It was fun.
That was fun.
I think we need to learn how to structure our talking a little bit better so that we're not spending too much time on a single subject.
Yeah.
We just had a lot to say about La La Land,
yeah,
I think.
It's true.
And it was more
camera batteries.
Yeah, and we need to figure out how to have better camera batteries because both of those batteries were fully charged.
Wow.
Both those batteries.
How long do they hold a charge?
I don't know.
Oh my god! Do you think it's because it plugged into the TV? A little more.
It could be. I'm not sure, but I think that camera also sucks a lot of battery. So. Yeah.
That's episode 1 of the Dan Squared Show.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. But that was great.
It was such an incredible time. That was
super fun. I don't care if anyone listens. That was just fun.
Yeah. I think this is a good first time thing and sets the bar for what's to come, and hopefully we will supersede that bar with better camera battery and more concise speaking points.
Oh you just had so much to say, and it was never circular.
Yeah, It was never circular.
Wow.
I tried to make it circular in certain instances.
Wow.
But
We did it.
yeah, I think we did it. And we hope that you tune in every single time that a post is uploaded. And hopefully you will see more stuff from us. This episode is going to be on, as I mentioned before, this episode is going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Facebook. And it will also be uploaded in audio form to SoundCloud and hopefully iTunes. So you'll have plenty of options to watch or listen to the two of us just talk about the stuff that we want to talk about.
You got 2 hours to kill? Yeah, you do.
I mean, like,
This
people do listen to 2-hour podcasts.
Oh, I do every week.
There's like a 6-hour history podcast that like people have been telling me to go listen to.
There's a like hour and a half to 2 hour hockey podcast I listen to every Thursday.
Oh, okay. So I think
I will bring sports into here, but you'll understand how.
I understand sports. It's not like
No, I know, but like things that
sports.
are not like sports happenings that are going on, but general implications of sports, like economics and things like that I like.
Oh.
Like economic implications of sport that I find interesting. Things that we find interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna
Hopefully
talk about
you find them interesting too.
What we're gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and see if we can line up guests for a show. So it's not just the two of us talking about the things that we want to talk about, but it's also somebody else that wants to talk about the things that they want to talk about.
Wayward Sons.
It's just the Wayward Sons. No, but I think I have can bring some people in and we can gear conversations towards specific things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
If you've made it this far, thank you.
Thank you for genuinely watching.
Any feedback is considered constructive and not insulting.
Yeah, even if you're just like, I hate this, do something else.
Then fine.
We will do something else. That's the whole point of this. I think we just need to work on this podcast a little bit more, and we're going to work on sort of the content that we're going to be putting out on our channels. We have a channel that you can subscribe to. It's the Dan Squared Industries channel. It's across different social medias. It's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes probably, Instagram maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day whenever you guys are listening to this, whether it's on the ride to a place in the morning or whatnot.
Also, if Jar Jar ends up being Snoke, if you're listening to this after a point where Jar Jar is revealed to be Snoke,
well done.
Good call.
Great call.
Well done. Props to you, my friend.
My name's Dan.
And I'm Dan.
And this has been the Dan Squared Show. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you again for another episode next week.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Big